So Jake, 1 year since you took over at Dover, how does that feel?
It feels a long time, to be honest. Yeah, obviously it was a really difficult period to come into. But what we've achieved since, obviously, the relegation was really disappointing, and it still haunts me a little bit to this day. But everything positive from then, really, and really enjoying it.
Were you ever in doubt when you took the job?
Yeah, definitely. It wasn't something I was looking to get into. Obviously, I was part of signing Mitch Brundle when he was here as a player. And I had a little bit of contact with Mitch, and obviously, I'm a Dover fan, and from the outside, it was difficult to see the decline in the club. So when Mitch come and asked, I did and ah, I really did, because obviously, life moves on, and I'd sort of come away from it. I think I've been out of it about 6 years. I mean, that time absolutely flew. But there was just something in the back of my mind, felt that it was sort of, if I didn't do it then maybe another opportunity wouldn't come along. Then obviously the chairman made his decision to release Mitch, and I was sort of put in a situation really that, that I felt that I felt I was the right man at the time, and I also felt that I wanted to give a little bit back for after all the good years that this club had given me. And
in terms of highs and lows so far in your managerial career at Dover, are there any specific that stand out for you?
Well, the first game of the season springs to mind. Obviously, the first game of the season is always like a nervy situation. We've built a new squad, and as well as we've done at pre-season, you don't really know how it's going to go. And Potter's Bar generally are a strong outfit in this league. So, yeah, I mean that was obviously got off to an absolutely flying start. Not necessarily got off to a flying start in that particular game. It was very sort of nervy and cagey for the first half hour. But we soon sort of took over the dominance, and that was a complete performance. How I want the sort of team to play.
And just in terms of your recruitment this summer, how have you managed to create such a positive atmosphere in the dressing room?
Recruitment was really difficult. I've been open and honest. The fact that lots of the boys we went out after we couldn't get in. It's always been the same down here. Obviously, distance is a major factor, and obviously financial. I was a little bit concerned. We kept missing out on targets, but slowly but surely we didn't panic. We were very, sure of what type of boy we wanted to bring in. And it just all fell into place, and they couldn't be pleaser.
You've made a few mid-season signings as well. You've brought in Mampola, and Mentz has returned. How much of an impact do you think they've had?
Yeah, obviously, it's that fine balance, isn't it? We've lost a few of the boys. They weren't getting the opportunities they wanted, and obviously travelling the distance, they decided to go off and play, which I think is the right decision. And then because of the great start we had, obviously we become more attractive to players. And managing to sign Francis and Jacob was obviously going to strengthen us. Two boys that have played step two. Been two great signings for us.
And in terms of the short-term future, are you looking ahead to the end of the season already, or are you still taking it game by game?
Yeah, it's a little bit. We're in a little bit of a surreal moment at the minute, because obviously it's all relaxed. We are really relaxed. There's no expectation, but we find ourselves where we find ourselves, and you think as the season goes, expectations are going to be higher. And it's going to be interesting to see, how we cope with that. But at the minute, there's a real good, relaxed changing room. The environment's absolutely brilliant, and we're just having really good fun.
And in terms of the long-term future at the club, where do you sort of see Dover in 5 years' time?
Yeah, good question. I mean, obviously, where the club's been before, we'd all hope and like to get back there. But realistically, things have moved on in football, and obviously now, with the chairman, he's retired. So we've got to make ourselves sort of self-sufficient. So to get back to them heights, I'd say would be, very, very difficult. But
as well.
Oh, he's been absolutely brilliant. Yeah, absolutely brilliant. He's, I genuinely believe he's the best at what he does. Proof's in the pudding with the amount of boys he's brought through. But like I keep saying, it's not only the talent he brings through, the boys that come through, their attitudes and their work ethic and everything about them is all full credit to Mike.
So in terms of a week in the life of the Dover manager, what would that look like for you?
Busy in all aspects. Obviously, I've got a full-time job. I've got 3 kids, and so yeah, life is extremely busy. And things have settled down a little bit now, so it's not as busy as it was earlier on in the season. We've got a settled squad, so player-wise, that's all pretty much settled. I've got a really good team behind me. Obviously, Mike works in the academy, and I say he hasn't got a proper job like me, so he's got a little bit more time on his hands. So he deals with a hell of a lot.
And in terms of, obviously you've been Dover manager for a year now, what's the biggest lesson that you've learned so far?
Well, to be honest, I really have taken it in my stride, because I come here under no pressure, and I've just thoroughly enjoyed it. It's really good to be around sort of young lads. It keeps me young. I really enjoy the changing room banter and being around them. Lesson learned. Just try and keep a happy camp. Really, you don't take yourself too seriously. You don't take the whole situation too seriously. We're here to do as best as we can, and what will be will be. And
in terms of everyone else in the backroom staff, obviously there's lots of staff behind the scenes. How important is that in creating a good sort of club atmosphere as a whole?
Yeah, obviously, although I'm quite old in age now, I'm an inexperienced manager. This is my first job, and my first season has actually been in charge, sole in charge. So, obviously Mike's been a manager himself. He's been assistant, and obviously Paul Hyde comes along and helps out. And it's nice to lean on people for a bit of advice every now and again. I always like to listen to what people have got to say, and then ultimately the final decision will be mine. But yeah, I do like working with a close-knit team. I don't like too many staff. We go to games and people come here and there's 8, 10 members of staff, and I think that can be a little bit dangerous, because I think it's got to be one opinion. Obviously it's important other lads sort of will speak to Paul and Mike as well as myself, so if there's something they don't want to discuss with me, that they're there for them as well. So yeah, it's really important to have a staff, and both of them guys have been really good.
And just in terms of the squad right now, obviously Mitch Walker's picked up a little injury. Can you just give us an update on how he's doing?
Yeah, not really. It's his old injury. It stems from his old injury. Obviously, he played all last season with no problems at all, and it's the same knee that's flared up. Currently, it has settled down. But it's not quite right. So even going into Saturday's game, we're not really 100% sure where we're going to be. So no, I can't really give you any more update on that. We've just got to sit patiently and address whatever the situation is. Whether it settles down and he can continue to play, or he might have to go under the knife and have a little little washout. We'll see where that goes.
And Claudio's obviously come in to replace him. How do you think he's done?
Yeah, Claudio's an interesting story, an interesting character. He just found his way into sort of pre-season. He knew a few of the boys. He come in and asked if he could be around it. He was I found out later on down the line he was at Horsham last year, and he's a real big character, a real good lad, like generally goalkeepers are, aren't they? And he's fitted in really well. He's turned up every session. I think he really enjoys being here, and it's obviously really difficult to fill in Mitch Walker's shoes. Probably the most experienced, and I'd probably go as far as saying best goalkeeper in the league. And it's been difficult for him. Obviously, I felt for him, Cray, the last kick of the game. But he's done as well as can be expected from the experience he's had.
And in terms of the crowd as well, are you pleased to see more people coming back through the gates after a negative end to the last season?
Yeah, of course. That's the key, and I've made that quite clear. I know there was a little bit of negativity in the week regarding the fee for the Kent Senior Cup. And I understand, both sides of the story, but ultimately, it is a business. We had to look at it for, like I said, the chairman's retired now, so we want to make this club self-sufficient, and the crowd is going to be a massive importance. And we do need to stop the negativity, which I think we've near enough done now. But obviously, people don't forget the past, and it's a little bit difficult situation we're in, really. That we're going to need at least 1,000 through the gate if we're going to make this club self-sufficient. We're getting up there, and obviously winning games is really important, but also everyone's got to understand that you can't win every game, and then there's going to be bumps on the road, like there has been already this season. You know, even last Saturday, obviously, lots of people were left here disappointed, including myself, after scoring a 94th minute goal and then conceding the 95th. But you know, we urge people to stick with us. We urge people to, you know, invite a friend, invite people that used to come up, invite new people. I think it's important that, you know, we start to see some new faces up here and really sort of, you know, get this place back buzzing, because we're not going to be able to do it without them, and we're going to need big figures now to generate the income that you need to run a football club in this league and the levels above.
There's a busy period coming up as well with the Christmas period, lots of games in a short space of time. How do you think the players will cope with that, and how important will the fans be as well in that period? Yeah,
obviously we're going to have a massive disadvantage to the other clubs that are competing with us, because, you know, we have got a very small squad, a little bit by choice and a little bit obviously financial reasons. You know, we just got to touch wood that we don't pick up any injuries really, because obviously that's going to be difficult to overcome with such a small squad. But you know, so far so good on that front, and hopefully if the boys don't over celebrate Christmas, you know, we can navigate through them difficult games in short period, and continue where we've started.
And looking ahead to Saturday, we've got Dulwich Hamlet away from home. They obviously have quite a following at home. How big of a game is that going to be?
Yeah, I mean, you know, there's a lot of boys with not a lot of experience in this changing room. You know, a few boys have come up from levels below. Obviously, we've got a lot of young boys not used to playing in front of the big crowds, but obviously the few big crowds we've got here already this season, you know, will stand them in good stead, because you know, it can be intimidating and you can be a little bit edgy and nervous. But I don't really see that in this group. I think we've dealt with the big crowds so far relatively well. But like you say, in Dulwich you get massive crowds at home, and it's going to be, you know, it's going to be an intimidating environment, and we need to start well.
And just lastly, you are the manager of the month. Just how much is that a testament to how good of a season it's been?
Yeah, I mean, if I'm brutally honest, I thought we would have won it a couple of months before. I mean, you know, with the budget we've got and where, you know, how we started, but you know, we've got to respect other clubs as well. You know, some other clubs are in a similar predicament to us, and they've also done very well. But yeah, obviously, I'd rather it be the manager of the season or the manager of the month latter on, because you win nothing in November, do you? But ultimately, it's always nice to be recognised. But you know, again, Mike's an absolutely massive part of this, along with the other coaching staff, and obviously all the staff. You know, the chairman's been absolutely brilliant. The fans and the players have been an absolute pleasure to be about. They've really taken on board, you know, what we want for them. Yeah, so it's a massive sort of group team achievement.
Excellent. Thank you very much.